There's no better way to show your appreciation to your visitors or potential clients by giving great customer service. And to accomplish this, we're going to need a live chat. This way we can be there most of the time when they need us. And for this, I'm going to show you Tidio, which does a great job for this. I'm actually using it and I feel it's a great system. So let's go check it out. Tidio is a live chat system that's going to let you provide great customer service to your visitors and clients. Now, what I like about it is that it's super easy to implement. That's one of the main features that I like about Tidio. Now, you don't actually have to be there all the time because Tidio actually has a bot that you can integrate to it. So that means that when you're not around, it can answer potential questions that visitors or customers might have. And it works fantastic with WooCommerce and Shopify. So if you have a returning customer, you can trigger the bot to do something specifically for that return customer or for a specific product page, and you can do a whole lot with it. Now, if you want to check it out, I'll be leaving a link in the description where you can actually test it out. For example, here's on my site. It can get started and you're going to be greeted with the bot that I created, and you can get started and test it out if you like. For example, I'll see get deal listed in case you want to list it on this page. You can email me and it'll take you to a specific page. But if I click on get deal listed, well, it's going to send me options in, for example, what is my name? And in this case, I'll say Jorge, which is my name, or George in English. And it's going to say, thank you, Jorge. What is your email address? It will continue from there. So go ahead and test it out. Now, let's jump into the Tidio panel. Now, it has several great features. One of them would be the inbox. And this is where we're going to cover everything that comes into the Tidio live chat system. And you can also connect your Messenger and Instagram and also your email. So you can provide all that support from inside of Tidio without having to go into those places and answering from there. So if someone contacts you from Messenger, like this case, well, I can go ahead and reply to them right here without having to go to Messenger. And that goes as well for the email and the Instagram account. Now, there's also an Android and iOS app that you can start replying from there also, which makes things really super easy. Now, this is the main inbox, and we have, for example, unassigned, my open inbox, the solved. And if you have team members, you can assign them to different type of members that you have there. For example, if you have accounting members, if you have support, if you have whatever, you have tech support, well, you can just assign them to those certain places. Now, you get a lot of information with this. So for example, this is an email that I received and I get the name. Well, in this case, it doesn't have the name, but you get the email. It's unassigned. The status is open. Priority is normal. No chat history. Let me open one that's from Tidio. Let me go down here. These are all email. Let me go to my opens. Okay, here's from Tidio, and we get all the information here. In this case, they didn't contact me. I actually contact them, and that's a pretty cool feature that I'll show you in a bit. Here's the IP address from the person, the assigned to me, and you get all the data from here. From this page, this is where that person was when I contacted them. Okay, so here's the overall inbox for this. The next thing we have is the chatbots. So in the chatbots, I really like that they have templates available that we can start from there. And they divide these in categories. For example, the templates would be, for example, to increase sales, to generate leads, or to solve problems. Now, for each one of these, they have templates. So example, if you want to increase sales, I can go ahead and add a template specifically for this, okay? And they give you an example of templates that you might use for this. For example, an auto reply for a story, reply reaction, respond to greeting AI, post-purchase discount. Let's try something here. Discount for new visitors. Yeah, we could do that. For example, I'll use this template and I can go ahead and test it out if I like, but in this case, I'll just use it. I'll name this, this is the greeting message. We'll leave it as it is. We'll continue. Here's your code. Enjoy the shopping XYZ. So we're going to say shopping code SaaS Master. Continue. And this is going to create it for me. So this is going to open up the chatbot builder. Now, it might be a little bit overwhelming in the beginning, but it's actually pretty simple because it actually flows the way the arrows that you connect to. For example, you see there's an arrow here, and this is dedicated. So if someone responds, yes, sure, like let me open this one. So in this case, we have the action. It's a decision, quick reply. And here's the message, and we give them these options. So in this case, there's an option, yes, sure, and no thanks. So we have two dividing sections that it's going to go to. So in this case, we connect it to our next option. So if they say yes, sure, it's going to go to this action. Cool, what's your email address? And we'll continue from there. If they say no thanks, it's going to go to this message. No problem, I'll be here in case you have any questions, in case of any questions, okay? And we can continue this if we like. We don't have to stop here. And it's pretty cool. Like I said, the templates help you how to get started with the bot. Now, if you need to add actions, they're over here on the right. They have three main categories, which is triggers. Let me click on this one. And this is going to trigger, which is the beginning of this section. So for example, in this case, it's first visit on site. So you can see how easy it is to start the actual bot depending on how you want to use it. For example, a visitor returns to the site, mouse leaves the window, new event, on certain days, visitor clicks on a chat icon, visitor says, visitor clicks on the button, etc. And you get all of these options to trigger the bot, okay? And you can trigger this flow. In any section here, you can just go ahead and jump in and chat by yourself, okay? Next things we have is conditions. So based on the contact property, based on the browser. So maybe, you know what, if the browser is Chrome, if it's Safari, etc., you know, if Safari, it's on Mac, then you might trigger something else to do with the bot. If the operating system is different, returning visitor, current URL. So for example, if the current URL is for a certain product or a certain place of your page, you could do something with the bot that's different, and it doesn't have to be the same as it would with other type of sections, okay? Then you have languages, if you want to change the language, mailing subscribers, chat status, and then we have actions also. So these are the actions, these little blue ones that we're seeing here, and there's a ton of these that help you make this really, really unique. So for example, you can ask a question, like you saw this one right here, and then continue from there, do some questions. There's a decision card, send an email, a delay, a randomize, add a tag to this, remove a tag, send to Zapier, chat with bot ended, subscribe for mailing, a lot of options, check order status, product ability for Shopify. So there's different options here, and it's just super easy to save and activate. I won't activate it because I do have this connected to my site, but there's a different type of bots here. If you want to solve problems, well, you can use this one, which is a simple bot. For example, if you want to solve a problem here, let's add a template. We have these templates available here to get you started. And like I said, this is where I got started. I think it was a frequently asked questions, and that's how I got started with my bot. And you start with this, and then you make it unique and to the purpose of your own website. So for example, let me show you this one right here. This is a Shopify test where it's dedicated to this particular page. And the cool thing that this bot was built based on the returning visitor later on. So it's going to give you, for example, if they don't have, for example, a certain dimension or a size, in this case for a shirt, it'll give you options. It'll give you options for things that it matches with other type of clothes. So this bot is really unique. I hope I can give you access. If I can, I'll provide a link in the description to show you how this actually works, because you can do something really unique with these bots. So a lot of things come into the bot to make it really unique, and you can add different bots here and trigger them in different sites if you like. For example, you have your increase sales, generate leads, and solve problems. Next is we have visitors. Now, it might sound a little bit crazy, but this is actually one of my favorite features in Tidio. Why? Because I can actually jump in and talk to someone if they're on the site. So in this case, this is me, and I can start the chat with this person because I'm in the site, okay? So let's just say that they didn't open that bubble and I'm in the site. Well, in the visitor section, I can jump in and say, hey, you know what? Let me know what I can help you with. And I think this is really useful because someone who is really intended to buy a product or needs support would really help out. So for example, I'll give you a quick example from this one right here. I'm not sure what that flag is. This one's from India. So it was 7 hours ago, too long. This 38-minute one. I can start the chat right here, join the conversation. Now this person hasn't contacted me. All they are seeing is a bubble for the chat option. But I can say, hey, you know what? This is not a bot. Let me know what I can help you with. I'm here right now. Just something like that. And that's pretty cool because, hey, if I need to ask something, I know that someone's available right now. So if you have, for example, team members, several customer support people, well, they can start jumping in the chat if they don't actually trigger the chat themselves. So I really love this feature for the visitors on the site at the moment, okay? Next thing we have is the contacts. So anyone who contacts is gonna be listed right here. So you have all the details from their name, their email. That's if they contacted via live chat. So if it's live chat, we're gonna get the name and the email, they unsubscribed or they can subscribe. If it's by email, where we're getting their email only, We can type in the email if we like. And if they are coming from Messenger, we get the name. So it's different kind of scenarios, but we get details of the contacts. And then we have the subscribers here. So if they actually subscribe, well, we can send them over to an emailing list to start sending out emails later on for marketing purposes. So it's pretty cool. You can save as a segment and you can customize this if you like, and you can view subscribers. Next thing is we have the analytics. For this page, which hasn't been connected for a long time, I think it's like 5 days, we're getting the analytics, the conversations, the first response time, the conversation duration. You don't have any ratings right now, so they haven't rated. They have the option to rate. The conversation started by visitors. You have the option here. And you have the filters available. We have the operators. In this case, it's only me. But if you have several ones, it's pretty unique that we have all this information. The leads, 14 leads acquired, and the tickets. So in this case, all tickets and 1 ticket on average. So you get all of that with Tidio. Now, next thing I would recommend is jumping into settings. In the settings, this is where we're going to customize our actual live chat. For example, if blue is not your branding, like let's just say if it's purple, green, or custom, you have the options available here for other gradients, and you can customize it depending on how you want to show it on, display it on your site. You have the widget position, left or right, the button label, enable widget sound. I removed the enabled widget sound. It's there by default, but I think it's a little bit annoying, so I removed it. Do not use Google Fonts. I also set that on. It's off by default. The widget visibility, how you want to display that. The get started, the message, the mobile widgets, the pre-chat survey, the routine rules for department. So if you have different departments, like I mentioned before, you have accounting support, tech support, billing support, etc. You have all that there. And you have the multi-languages. In this case, I've added Spanish. So by default, it's English, but I've added Spanish to this. And you can add more languages to this also if you like. Once you've set it like, you go ahead and save it. You have your sidebar if you want to add sidebar also. Let's wait for that to pop up. Oh, let me enable it. There we go. That's how it pops up. But I want to use the bubble. But in case you don't want to use the bubble and you want to use the sidebar, you just enable it there. The installation process, you get a code. The chat page, if you want to create a chat page. The translations, if you want to translate something more down to earth or more customized, I would say, for example, maybe this is not how you want to translate it. For Spanish, for example, this is what it says. Please introduce yourself. And in Spanish, it says, por favor, preséntate a ti mismo. Maybe it's too formal. Maybe you want to use your own translation. So you have all the translations here to change them on your own. You have your ticketing settings, your Facebook Messenger connection. I've already connected it. My Instagram, I also connected it. So I'm doing my support inside of Tidio. I don't go over there. The account information, personal information, notifications, the operating hours. This is really important because this is where your chatbot is going to say that someone's available. So set your time zone. If you need to change it, go ahead and do so here and set the operating hours. In my case, I've set it 11 a.m. to 8:15 p.m. That's my working hours, and that's how it's going to display. You have canned responses, which is super useful. In case you want to set these up, and it's super easy to reply, especially when you have repeated questions, you know what to answer. You have a canned question available here. You just go ahead and add a new canned response. Workflows for the settings for this, the chat assignment, the automatic solve, your team members, customer satisfaction if you want to enable this, your integrations. These are the integrations that they have available as of now. The only thing I wish they add is the webhooks. Desktop and mobile options, the contact properties, project billing, and tracking, and for developers to do more advanced features with Tidio. But that is Tidio. You're gonna get this dashboard where you're gonna view all your leads, your ShopBot monthly limits. There's a free plan that I do recommend that you check out, and there's the visitors on your page right now. Another cool feature that Tidio has is that they don't delete the data after, for example, 30 days, 60 days, or 1 year. It's there. You can go ahead and go back to your contacts and you're gonna have them there. So it's a pretty cool feature that they have also. But basically, that is Tidio. I do recommend that you go check out the link that I provide so you can test it out for yourself, and the link in case you guys want to grab a plan or a free plan. But there you go. That is Tidio, and that's a wrap.